Hey, what is going on, everybody? Jerma here with the Australian Christmas update. I know I should be eating my words right now because a couple of days ago I made a video complaining, talking about how we haven't seen a update or a weapon in a long time, and here we go, we got like 10 new items to play with. And like in previous fashion of my other update coverage, I'm going to give you every single weapon in a real gameplay situation, talk about it, give you all the details, talk about what I think about the item. So let's get started right now, starting with the engineer. The first engineer unlockable you can get is something called the Thompson 6000, which is a shotgun replacement. Does not require ammo, projectiles penetrate enemy targets, projectile cannot be deflected, on hit, victim loses 10% medigun charge, and victim loses 20% cloak. So it's an anti-spy, anti-uber item. So if you want to compare this to a different item, this is essentially just a jacked up righteous bison. And I wasn't really a fan of the bison, but for some reason, I don't know why, I actually like this weapon. I think it's actually very well done. Probably gonna see a nerf because of all the discharging, the 10% medigun charge thing. That's a little over the top, but we will see what they do. I recommend you get this item ASAP. Now let's talk about the new wrench, the Eureka effect. On alt fire, teleport to spawn just like this. There is no recharge time on this, guys. You can do this 100 times in a row. The downside is you cannot carry buildings anymore, which is a huge downside. I guess a big upside of this weapon, though, is say goodbye to back capping. Spy capping, scout capping. If you know somebody got behind you, you can just teleport right back to the first point. Also, it needs to be said, you do not have to go to the resupply when you teleport. You just instantly get 200 metal. It's got some great novelty features, but in my opinion, I'm not going to really use this item a whole lot because I really need to move buildings. I'm so addicted to it now, I have to do it. If you're one of those people that doesn't really care about moving your buildings around, then by all means use this wrench, you will love it. Moving on to the Pyro now, the Pyro got 3 new items. The first is the Phlogistinator or the Phlogistinator. I'm not sure, it's one of those two. And just like the Soda Popper, when the Soda Popper came out, there's a new mechanic called the Oomph Bar, which fills as you do damage. It only fills if you do fire damage. This will not fill from shotgun shots. I've already tried it. So essentially what's going to happen is once you fill this bar, you're going to right-click to taunt, and that is going to give you crits and refill all your health instantly. The major downsides, of course, is you cannot compression blast and you cannot get random critical hits. And as you can see on the screen, this weapon is ridiculous. It is incredibly powerful. If it's in the right hands, you can do a lot of damage. Now, a lot of people think this is going to replace the backburner as the new heavy-hitting, dominating flamethrower, and they might be true, but I think that a lot of people are still going to use the backburner because of the new secondary. That new secondary is the Manmelter 3600ZX. It is a flare gun replacement. A lot of people were curious as to what the hell this thing actually was. It is a flare gun replacement, doesn't require any ammo, cannot be deflected, and if you put somebody out like this, you hold down right-click, you are going to get 1 guaranteed crit shot like that. This is going to be great with weapons like the backburner because you can save that compression blast on a teammate by using this item. Now, this weapon does not crit under any other circumstances. If you hit somebody that's already on fire with this item, it will not crit them. It's just going to do normal flare gun damage. The final item for the Pyro in this update is the 3rd degree. It is a new melee item. And this is a weird one, guys. This is kind of one of those gimmicky weapons that a lot of people aren't going to use, because essentially what it does, see, it's supposed to hit every single person that's connected by medi beams. And right there, I guess I hit all 3 people, but who really cares? If you're going to get that close to somebody, you might as well extinguisher kill them or light them on fire. The only real reason I could see why this would be useful is if you crit somebody. You smash crit one of the medics, and it kills like a line of 3 people. So moving on to the Scout. The Scout got 1 item. Gonna cover it real quickly. The Rap Assassin. It is a reskin of the Sandman. And the only difference is when you hit somebody with the ball, it puts a bleed effect on them. so they don't get stunned, which is kind of hard getting used to because I'm used to hitting somebody and having them boing stand still for a couple of seconds, which is a big downside. And the other big downside is this has a minus 70% damage penalty. So physically going up and whacking somebody with this thing is an awful idea. I guess the only real good upside is you don't get the minus health like you do on the Sandman. Regardless of that, though, I don't think anyone's going to make the switch to this weapon anytime soon. Moving on to the Spy, who got arguably the best item in this update. He got the spy-cicle. Backstab turns victim into ice. Silent killer, no attack noise from backstabs. And the big, ridiculous, I'm so happy about this. This is my new default knife. You are immune to fire damage for the first couple seconds, but it destroys the knife in the process. So if you get lit on fire, I'll show you here in a minute, you do not light on fire and you do not take any damage. So it is huge. Not to mention backstabbing people and having them turn into these stone ice sculptures. It's so awesome. That is a downside though, because that reveals your position. People are going to know there's a spy around. If you turn around and see two ice sculptures of your two best friends, you're going to start looking around. So here is another example of how the fireproof mechanism works. I'm going to be up here, a pyro's going to come outside, spray me, I'm not going to light on fire. See right there? I should have lit on fire, but I didn't. My knife got destroyed instead, and it takes 15 seconds for it to come back. After 15 seconds, I can go back to what I was doing before. The final item in this update is something called the Holiday Punch. It is a new heavy melee unlockable, and I left it for last because it really is just ridiculous. It's just the stupidest item I've ever seen. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun. So basically the mechanic is, when you crit somebody with these gloves on, it's going to force them to do the laugh taunt. And right here's a funny example of how it can actually be useful. See, I crit that guy, hit him from behind. It's just, I can't even begin to explain this item. Anytime you hit somebody from behind, they're going to start laughing. Or anytime you crit them. And crits don't do any damage. If you crit somebody, it won't hurt them at all. They just start laughing at you. It is like just, I am at a loss. But it is a lot of fun to mess around with. And if somebody else is wearing these gloves, and you punch them, it doesn't matter if they're in front of you, behind you, next to you. If you just touch them with these gloves on, they will do a laugh taunt at you. That is going to conclude the video, but before I leave, I need to say this. You can only get the spy knife, the heavy gloves, and the scout wrapping paper. You can only get them in nice crates or by using slot tokens to craft. That is the only way you can get those items. You can't buy them and they don't drop. That potentially could change in the next couple of days or even the next couple of weeks. It definitely will change, but as of right now, you can only get them through those means. So thanks, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed. Happy holidays again, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.